Okay, so it seems like we've got a ton of material here, notes, articles, even some pages ripped straight from a notebook. Looks like someone's ready to tackle that mental clutter and find some serious productivity, huh?
Fascinating. What we're seeing here is, well, it's a real blend of that classic wisdom with those, those cutting edge techniques. It seems clear you're after a system that's more than just checking off to-do lists, right?
Absolutely. We've got excerpts from writer Carroll's book itself, a stack of research about how awesome handwriting is. Oh, and get this, a pretty intense story about a bullet journal.
Yeah.
Like literally saving the day during some medical emergency at a school. Crazy, right?
Yeah, intriguing how we see this fusion of time-tested wisdom with the modern techniques. You're definitely searching for something that bridges, contemplation with action.
For sure. And I think it makes sense to start with, well, writer Carroll himself, right? It's pretty amazing how his own trouble focusing is what kind of sparked this whole system. He talks about this decision fatigue thing, like feeling paralyzed by how many choices we have these days.
Oh, absolutely. And it fits perfectly with what we're seeing in, current research on information overload. Our brains just weren't built for this constant multitasking, the decisions, everything coming at us all the time.
It's crazy that in this, super digital world, Carroll's all about a physical notebook, not an app or anything. What's the deal with pen and paper in 2025?
Well, the research shows some pretty clear advantages. Handwriting, it makes memory stronger, improves comprehension, even sparks creativity. The actual act of writing, like physically doing it, can be calming, makes you slow down and really think about things.
Like hitting pause on that mental whirlwind, right? And speaking of capturing things, Carroll has this story where he was hesitant to let a friend see his notebook. The friend was drowning in wedding planning, total chaos.
Makes sense to feel vulnerable, right? We often see our organizational systems as kind of a reflection of our mental process. Sharing them can feel pretty exposing.
But get this, the friend was blown away. Told him he had to share it with the world. Apparently, it resonated with everyone, designers, accountants, project managers, you name it. They all wanted a better way to wrangle their thoughts and to-dos.
Speaks to that, that universal need for clarity, control in the middle of all this chaos. Carroll, he kind of sensed that his own solution, it could help way more people than just himself.
So he got to work, formalized the whole system, made the techniques better, came up with a new vocabulary, and boom, the bullet journal was born.
It's more than just a system, really. It's a whole practice, a mindful way to approach life. It's about weaving productivity, mindfulness, and purpose into a framework that's practical and adaptable.
Okay, so let's break down this rapid logging thing. Carroll says relying only on our memory to capture everything.
Yeah.
Well, that's asking for trouble. We need to write stuff down, preserve those little bits of wisdom.
Right, and rapid logging, it uses shorthand and symbols to, categorize and prioritize thoughts quickly. It helps you capture tasks, events, notes in a way that's, accessible and actionable.
There's this story he tells about someone using their bullet journal to, see a troubled relationship with fresh eyes. Journaling over time gave them more objectivity.
Shows the power of self-awareness, right? The bullet journal helps with that. Just writing down our thoughts, our experiences, it can help us spot patterns and find insights that might have stayed hidden otherwise.
Topics are pretty key in this system. It's how you define what your entry's about, like a project or a meeting or just, personal reflection.
Right, clear topics. That's what transforms your bullet journal into this powerhouse reference tool. They give you context so you can find specific info fast when you need it.
Carroll's big on finding that sweet spot between, keeping it brief and being clear enough when writing those bullets. Don't want them too cryptic, but you don't want to get lost in the sea of details either.
It's a skill that comes with practice. Finding that balance, making your notes concise yet meaningful enough to, actually be useful later.
Speaking of concise, let's talk bullet types. Tasks, events, and notes, each with their own little symbol and purpose.
Exactly. Tasks, those are your action items marked with a dot. Then there's events, capturing experiences or things that happen, marked with a circle.
And then notes, marked with a dash. Those are for general info, brainstorming, just jotting stuff down.
These bullet types are like the foundation of rapid logging, helps you quickly categorize and, differentiate all the info you're recording.
Carroll dives into the different states tasks can be in too.
Yeah.
Completed, migrated, scheduled, even deemed irrelevant, right?
Keeping track of task status, that's essential for, managing things effectively. Keeps us organized and makes sure nothing falls through the cracks.
This subtasks idea is interesting. It's breaking big, complex tasks into smaller, bite-sized pieces.
It makes those daunting tasks feel way more approachable, right? Like creating a roadmap to reach your goals.
Carol's point is, even when documenting emotionally charged stuff, those event entries should stay objective and concise. He uses the example of someone logging a breakup in their bullet journal.
That focus on objectivity, it's really important. It lets us document things without getting tangled up in all those, emotions of the moment.
It's cool how the bullet journal encourages you to record all kinds of experiences. Big, small, good, bad, doesn't matter. Carol compares our memories to painted portraits, not photographs. They're subjective, easily distorted.
Exactly. And the bullet journal, it provides this, a more objective record of what we experience, which helps us learn from them more effectively.
He suggests unpacking experiences pretty soon after they happen, so you capture those details accurately. Also recommends using the daily reflection to process and think about those events.
Regular reflection, it's key for pulling meaning out of our experiences. Stepping back and considering, what we've learned and how to apply it moving forward.
All right, shifting gears to notes. Carol suggests they should focus on capturing the info, not trying to interpret or analyze it right then and there.
Exactly. Notes are for preserving info for later review and reflection. We can dive into analysis and interpretation during those dedicated reflection times.
He emphasizes keeping it brief and clear, especially when taking notes during meetings or lectures.
Concise notes, they hold more value than those, lengthy rambling ones. When you're forced to choose your words carefully, it makes your mind work harder and you retain information better.
And we got to remember our future selves when writing notes, making sure they'll make sense down the line.
Good point. Our present self is like working for our future self, right? We want to make sure the info we record is accessible and useful when we need it later.
Let's talk signifiers and custom bullets. Carol's big on the bullet journal being flexible, adapting to our individual needs.
That customization, that's what makes it so appealing, right? It lets you mold the system to fit your own workflow and preferences.
Signifiers are those little symbols that add context to your bullets, like highlighting priority, inspiration, anything relevant.
They make those important entries visually pop so they stand out.
And custom bullets, another way to make it your own. Design your own symbols to represent specific types of entries.
They streamline your note-taking and make your bullet journal, more visually appealing.
For example, Carol suggests a star symbol for entries that spark inspiration.
It's a clever way to capture those flashes of brilliance so they don't get lost in the shuffle.
Moving on to the monthly log, one of the core collections in the bullet journal system.
The monthly log, it gives you this bird's eye view of the month ahead. It's where you track events, deadlines, all those important tasks.
It has a calendar page and a tasks page. The calendar page is, your standard monthly calendar for marking important dates and events.
And the tasks page, or the mental inventory, that's where you list all the tasks you want to tackle during the month.
Carol recommends creating a fresh monthly log at the beginning of every month.
That regular setup, it keeps you organized and lets you start each month with a clean slate and a fresh perspective.
The future log, another essential collection. It's designed to house entries that have specific dates, but, they fall outside of the current month.
Right, like birthdays, travel plans, anything scheduled for a future date.
The future log usually spans several months so you can capture a wider time frame.
Helpful for keeping track of long-term commitments and making sure nothing gets forgotten.
Carol's clear that the daily log is your go-to for capturing thoughts and tasks as they pop up throughout the day.
The daily log is your catch-all, a place to jot down anything that comes to mind. You don't have to worry about organization or categorization at this point.
Then during your daily reflection, you can process and move those entries to other collections if needed.
This two-step process, it streamlines your note-taking and keeps your bullet journal flexible and adaptable.
Carol talks about how he struggled to find a system for retrieving specific info from his old notebooks. He used calendars, chronological entries.
Right.
It was a mess.
That's a common frustration, A lot of traditional notebooks lack a good indexing system. Makes it hard to find specific info.
His solution was the index, a key part of the bullet journal method.
The index, it's basically a table of contents for your bullet journal, lets you quickly locate specific entries and collections.
Carol recommends using a few pages at the beginning of your notebook for the index.
And as you make new collections, just add them to the index with their page numbers. Easy peasy.
Threading is a cool technique. It connects related entries across different pages, even different notebooks.
It's especially helpful for tracking projects or topics that, span multiple entries. Creates a visual trail so you can follow how an idea or task evolved.
Carol explains threading using a simple notation. It just tells you the page number of the connected entry.
Simple but effective. Lets you link related info without cluttering up your entries.
He's a big advocate for regular migration, which is reviewing and moving entries from one collection to another.
Migration, it keeps things organized and makes sure your bullet journal stays dynamic and relevant.
The main migration happens at the end of each month when you set up a new monthly log.
Right. You look at the incomplete tasks from the previous month and decide, whether to move them to the new monthly log, schedule them in the future log, or just ditch them.
It's all about ditching distractions and focusing on what truly matters.
It's a chance to reassess your priorities and make sure you're spending time and energy on things that, align with your goals.
You can also do migration weekly if that fits your workflow better, Carol says.
The frequency, it's a personal choice. Depends on how many entries you're making and your own preferences.
And then there's yearly migration, another important piece of the system.
Yearly migration, that's where you look at the entire notebook from the past year. You're identifying key insights, lessons learned, any unfinished projects or goals.
He describes it as a time for reflection, evaluation, assessing your progress and making adjustments.
It can be a powerful exercise in self-discovery. Helps you gain clarity on your priorities and identify areas for growth.
There's this incredible story Carol shares about a bullet journal being used during a medical emergency at a school. A mom on duty was able to give crucial info to EMTs by using her bullet journal.
That's a powerful anecdote, right? Shows how the bullet journal can be unexpectedly valuable in real-life situations. Really highlights the importance of having a reliable system for capturing and organizing critical information.
It's a stark reminder that being organized can literally save lives.
It also emphasizes the importance of adaptability. The bullet journal's flexibility means it can be used in all sorts of scenarios.
Let's dive into the philosophy behind the bullet journal method. Carol is very clear that it's not just about being organized, it's about self-awareness and intentional living too.
Exactly. It's a framework for examining our experiences and finding meaning in them, connecting our actions to our beliefs and values.
He's a big believer in reflection as a tool for personal growth.
Reflection, it lets us step back from the busyness and consider what's truly important. It's about identifying patterns, making connections, and gaining insights that can guide us.
He introduces this concept of lenses, different perspectives that can enrich how we reflect.
These lenses, they can come from different traditions, philosophies. Each one offers a unique way of approaching and interpreting our experiences.
Personal growth is a journey, not a destination, Carol says.
And the bullet journal, it's a companion on that journey, a tool that helps us stay focused, make progress, and, learn from our experiences along the way.
He recommends exploring different lenses to find the ones that really resonate with you.
The goal is to develop a well-rounded approach to reflection, considering our experiences from, various angles.
Carol challenges this typical idea of chasing happiness, saying it can be slippery and fleeting. He suggests we shift our focus to pursuing meaning instead.
That's a profound shift, isn't it? Instead of chasing happiness, we strive for a life that's fulfilling and aligned with our values.
He admits defining meaning can be tough. It's subjective and changes over time.
It's an ongoing process, discovering meaning. The bullet journal gives you the space to explore what resonates with you, what sparks your interest, what brings you joy.
He uses this Greek word phanestai, which means showing itself, to describe this process of finding meaning.
It's about paying attention to the things that naturally attract us, the experiences that feel, significant and worthwhile.
He wants us to seek out the things that shine forth. Those activities, pursuits, relationships that give us a sense of purpose.
This pursuit of meaning, it's a key part of living intentionally, making choices that reflect our values and contribute to a life that feels rich and, fulfilling.
Carol suggests doing a few exercises to get clear on what a meaningful life looks like.
These exercises are designed to make you really think and help you articulate your vision for a life that's both productive and purposeful.
It's about considering our values, our passions, our aspirations when we're trying to define what meaning is.
Creating a personal framework for making choices and chasing goals that are, truly meaningful to us.
Carol talks about grit, this combo of passion and perseverance that fuels our long-term goals. He knows grit can be intimidating, especially when everything's about instant gratification these days.
We often hear about, those extreme examples of grit, but it's important to remember that it exists on a spectrum. We can build grit in our daily lives by embracing challenges and pushing through obstacles.
He says the foundation of passion and perseverance is curiosity and patience.
And by nurturing those qualities, we develop the resilience and determination to go after our goals.
He suggests breaking down big goals into smaller chunks, calling them sprints. It makes big tasks less scary and helps us keep moving forward.
Sprints provide a framework for making progress step by step. You can focus on smaller milestones and celebrate your wins along the way.
He gives this example of breaking down the goal of learning to cook into a series of sprints, each focusing on a specific skill, like knife techniques or mastering basic recipes.
It makes learning less overwhelming and, more enjoyable. It's about building confidence and competence one step at a time.
He's big on defining clear, actionable tasks for each sprint.
Right. Tasks should be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. This ensures our efforts are focused and, productive.
Carol recommends setting aside specific time for working on sprints, actually scheduling it into your calendar or planner.
That proactive approach helps us prioritize our goals and make consistent progress.
He talks about how momentum is super important for staying motivated and persevering.
When we see regular progress, it strengthens our belief that we can achieve our goals.
He tells this story about 3 friends who all love yoga and wanted to quit their corporate jobs.
It shows how people can take different approaches to making a big life change and highlights the importance of, careful planning and experimentation.
One friend quit her job and moved to Costa Rica to become a yoga instructor, but ended up back in her old life a year later.
It shows how important it is to align our aspirations with our values and make sure our choices are truly fulfilling.
Another friend took a slower approach, teaching yoga on weekends while keeping her corporate job.
This let her test the waters and get some experience before committing fully.
And the third friend was very systematic, experimenting with different teaching environments and finally finding her niche leading yoga retreats.
It shows the power of, curiosity and experimentation. It's about finding the path that fits our passions and skills.
Carol's point is that change can be scary and often triggers our fear response.
Big, sudden changes can be overwhelming. It's often better to approach change gradually, taking small steps and building confidence as you go.
He suggests breaking down big changes into smaller, more manageable steps.
It makes change feel less intimidating and more achievable. Creates a sense of control and agency when things are uncertain.
He wants us to approach change with curiosity, a willingness to experiment.
It's about seeing change as an opportunity for growth and learning, not something to fear.
He's a big advocate for asking small questions when tackling a challenge or chasing a goal.
Small questions, they can spark new ideas and lead to solutions we didn't expect. They encourage us to think outside the box and explore different perspectives.
He gives this example of asking, what one unhealthy thing could I cut from my diet, instead of just aiming to lose weight?
This subtle reframing makes the goal more manageable and less overwhelming. It's about focusing on small, actionable steps that can lead to big results over time.
He stresses the importance of iteration, this process of testing and refining our approaches.
Iteration acknowledges that we don't always get things right on the first try. It's about embracing those, failures as learning opportunities and using them to improve our strategies.
We need to be patient with ourselves and give our efforts time to bear fruit, Carol says.
Progress takes time and consistency. It's important to celebrate those small wins and acknowledge the steps we're taking towards our goals.
He suggests focusing on the process, not just the end result.
When we focus on the process, we find joy and satisfaction in the journey itself, regardless of the outcome.
He reminds us that we're constantly evolving, constantly learning, and the bullet journal gives us a framework for capturing and integrating that growth into our lives.
It's about embracing this ongoing process of self-discovery and using it to inform our choices and actions.
He encourages us to be kind to ourselves, acknowledge our progress, no matter how small.
Self-compassion, it's crucial for sustainable growth. It's about recognizing our efforts and celebrating our wins along the way.
Carol introduces this idea of memento mori, which is this ancient Roman practice of reflecting on death.
It might sound morbid, but it can be a powerful reminder of how precious life is and, how important it is to make the most of our time.
Reflecting on our mortality can help us appreciate the present moment more and prioritize the things that truly matter.
It's about living with intention, making choices that align with our values and aspirations.
Carol suggests that embracing impermanence can actually enrich our experiences and make our relationships deeper.
When we acknowledge that life is fleeting, we can approach each moment with more gratitude and presence.
He suggests we integrate the idea of impermanence into how we reflect, using it to guide our choices and actions.
It can help us let go of things that are no longer serving us and embrace new opportunities for growth and connection.
Carol highlights the importance of gratitude as a way to counterbalance this, like natural negativity bias we all have.
Our brains are wired to focus on negative experiences more than positive ones. Gratitude helps us shift our attention to the good things, fosters a sense of appreciation and contentment.
He suggests practicing gratitude regularly, reflecting on the things we're thankful for and writing them in our bullet journals.
It's a simple practice, but it can have a huge impact on our well-being, can improve our mood, boost resilience, strengthen our relationships.
Carol's all about celebrating accomplishments, big or small. He says celebrating wins helps us recognize our progress and keeps us motivated.
Celebration, it's a vital part of personal growth. Helps us acknowledge our efforts and appreciate how far we've come.
He recommends finding ways to celebrate that are meaningful to you, whether it's a special outing, a treat, or just taking a moment to acknowledge your achievements.
Celebration, it's a form of self-care. Helps us stay energized and motivated on this journey of personal growth.
Carol talks about Stoicism, this philosophy that emphasizes virtue, reason, living in harmony with nature.
Stoicism offers some valuable insights into managing our emotions, navigating challenges, and finding contentment in the face of, adversity.
He highlights this Stoic principle of focusing on what we can control, accepting what we can't.
It can be incredibly empowering. It helps us let go of worry and anxiety and focus our energy on taking action where it matters.
Carol suggests we apply this principle to our bullet journal practice. Identify the tasks and actions within our control and let go of the rest.
It keeps us focused and productive, directing our efforts towards things we can influence and accepting the things we can't.
He talks about self-compassion, especially when we face setbacks or challenges.
Self-compassion, it means treating ourselves with kindness and understanding, recognizing that we're all human and, we all make mistakes.
He suggests asking ourselves, what would I say to a friend in this situation when we're being hard on ourselves?
It's a simple question, but it can help us shift perspective and be more compassionate towards ourselves.
Carol encourages us to practice patience, be understanding with ourselves, recognizing that growth takes time and effort.
Self-compassion isn't about making excuses or lowering our standards. It's about creating a supportive inner environment that, fosters growth and resilience.
He emphasizes this idea of personal radiance, the positive energy we project into the world.
Our radiance reflects our inner state, right? When we cultivate self-awareness, compassion, a positive mindset, it shines through in how we interact with others.
He believes we have an obligation to address our weaknesses and build on our strengths.
This commitment to personal growth benefits us and everyone around us.
He encourages us to be mindful of the energy we bring to our interactions, striving to be a source of positivity and inspiration.
Our radiance can have a transformative impact on our relationships, our work, our communities.
Errol shares a story from his own life about this difficult job he had after college.
It shows how even tough experiences can push us to grow and learn.
He describes this toxic work environment, a boss who was abusive.
It was a real test of his resilience and forced him to find ways to cope.
Instead of letting it crush him, he used that negativity as fuel to learn new skills and find a new path.
It's a great example of reframing a tough situation as a chance to grow.
Even in the darkest times, there's always opportunity, Carol says.
It's about choosing to focus on what we can learn, how we can grow from our experiences.
He encourages us to think of challenges as dragons to be slain, or maybe tamed, using our skills and determination to overcome them.
It's a powerful metaphor that can help us face adversity with courage and find meaning in our struggles.
He introduces this concept called rubber ducking, this problem-solving technique, where you explain a problem to an inanimate object.
Might sound strange, but it can be really effective. By saying the problem out loud, we often gain new insights and see solutions we didn't before.
He explains that by explaining it, we slow down, break it into smaller parts, consider different angles.
Rubber ducking helps us break free from mental ruts and find fresh approaches to challenges.
He suggests using a rubber duck, a teddy bear, even just an empty chair.
The point is to have something that lets you verbalize your thoughts without being judged or interrupted.
He encourages experimenting with rubber ducking for problem solving and creative brainstorming.
It's a simple but powerful technique that can unlock our creativity and help us find innovative solutions.
Carol talks about the importance of imperfection, embracing our flaws and accepting that we're all works in progress.
This perspective is crucial for growth. It lets us learn from our mistakes without feeling discouraged or giving up.
He introduces this Japanese concept, wabi-sabi, which values imperfection, transience, the beauty of natural processes.
Wabi-sabi encourages us to appreciate things as they are, rather than striving for this, well, unattainable ideal of perfection.
Carol tells this funny story about a disastrous attempt at cooking a romantic dinner for his partner.
It shows how perfectionism can backfire and highlights the importance of embracing our flaws.
He explains how being so focused on a perfect outcome actually ruined the night.
It reminds us that those imperfections are often what make experiences memorable and meaningful.
Carol wants us to shift our focus from being perfect to continuously improving.
It lets us see challenges as opportunities for growth and learn from our missteps.
Our bullet journals can be like a record of our imperfections, he says, and our courage to keep trying.
Every crooked line, every messy scribble, it's a reminder of our commitment to personal growth.
Carol highlights the importance of good change that's sustainable, that lines up with our values.
Good change is about making choices that bring us closer to the people we want to be. It's about progress, not perfection.
He wants us to focus on improving ourselves, not comparing ourselves to others.
It frees us from the need for external validation and lets us define success on our own terms.
He tells a story about a tough capoeira class he took.
It illustrates the importance of context and how it shapes how we experience things.
He explains how the individual movements felt awkward and pointless until he saw them all together as a sequence.
Reminds us that sometimes we need to see the big picture to appreciate the value of the individual parts.
He suggests that the bullet journal is kind of like that too. We capture and organize individual thoughts, experiences that eventually form this meaningful whole.
The bullet journal, it helps us connect the dots, make sense of our experiences, and pull wisdom from them.
He encourages us to approach our bullet journal practice with a sense of play, experimentation.
It's about finding what works for you, adapting the system to your needs, using it as a tool for self-discovery.
Carol emphasizes studying our efforts, reflecting on what worked and what didn't.
This reflection, it helps us refine our approaches, make adjustments, and continuously improve.
He values sharing our experiences and learning from each other.
The bullet journal community, it's a treasure trove of inspiration, support, and creative ideas.
He encourages us to connect with other bullet journalists, ask questions, share our own insights.
That collaborative spirit, it builds a sense of community and helps us learn faster.
He reminds us that the bullet journal is a personal tool, and we should adapt it in ways that work best for us.
There's no one right way to use it. The key is to make it your own and use it to make your life better.
Carol wraps things up by reminding us that the power to create positive change comes from within.
The bullet journal, it's a tool that helps us harness that power, provides a framework for self-awareness, intentional living, and continual growth.
He wants us to embrace the journey of personal development with curiosity, courage, and a commitment to making each day count.
The bullet journal is a companion on that journey, a testament to our aspirations, our struggles, our triumphs.
It's a powerful tool for building a life that is both meaningful and fulfilling.
And as we fill its pages with our thoughts, experiences, and dreams, we create a legacy of intentionality and self-discovery.
Carol's book, The Bullet Journal Method, it's an invitation to embark on this journey of personal transformation.
It's a journey that requires effort, dedication, a willingness to embrace the messy, beautiful complexity of being human.
But the rewards are huge. Greater self-awareness, increased productivity, and a life that aligns with our values and aspirations.
The bullet journal isn't a magic solution. It's a tool that helps us take control of our lives, shape our own destinies.
It's a testament to the power of intentionality, mindfulness, and the simple act of putting pen to paper.
And as we go on this journey of self-discovery, we find that the biggest changes come not from those grand gestures, but from the accumulation of those small, deliberate steps we take.
The bullet journal, it's a guide, a companion, a testament to our dedication to living a life that's productive and meaningful.
It helps us navigate this complex world while staying true to ourselves.
And as we fill those pages, we create a roadmap for a life that's uniquely our own.
A life that's both intentional and fulfilling.
A life that reflects our values, our passions, our deepest aspirations.
The bullet journal, it's a powerful tool for crafting a life that truly matters.
A life that's worth living.
A life that's truly our own. So the bullet journal, it can be more than just productivity, right? It can be a powerful tool for navigating, well, our mental and emotional well-being.
What's interesting is how it really sets itself apart from like all those other systems out there by putting so much emphasis on mindfulness.
Exactly. By encouraging us to slow down, think, connect with ourselves, the bullet journal becomes this tool for cultivating self-awareness.
Carol talks a lot about reviewing and migrating entries in our bullet journals, this migration process.
Right. And it goes beyond just organization. It's about making conscious choices about what we carry forward in our lives.
During migration, we ask those tough questions. Is this task, event, note still relevant? Is it valuable?
And if it's not serving us anymore, we let it go. It frees up mental space and energy for what truly matters.
That letting go piece seems crucial for maintaining clarity and focus in this crazy world.
Absolutely. It empowers us to prioritize our commitments and make sure our actions are aligned with our values.
Carol uses this great analogy for migration. He compares it to tending a garden.
Just like a gardener removes weeds to help things grow, we need to regularly curate what's in our bullet journals.
It's about weeding and nurturing, allowing our bullet journals to flourish alongside our evolving priorities and goals.
Carol emphasizes that the bullet journal is this living document, a reflection of our ongoing journey of self-discovery.
He wants us to embrace those imperfections, the crossed-out entries, the messy parts. It shows our willingness to grow and learn.
Our bullet journals, they shouldn't be these perfect, pristine representations of ourselves.
They should reflect our real, messy, beautiful human experience, right?
Exactly. Carol even suggests seeing our bullet journals as a way to cultivate self-compassion.
Instead of beating ourselves up over missed deadlines or unfinished tasks, we can use them to acknowledge our efforts, celebrate our progress.
Even documenting those small accomplishments can really reinforce our sense of agency, remind us that we're capable of moving forward.
He suggests the bullet journal can be helpful for managing stress and anxiety too.
By getting our worries and concerns out of our head and onto paper, it frees up mental space, gives us some perspective.
He recommends having a specific collection for tracking stressors, triggers. It helps us see patterns, develop coping mechanisms.
This process of observation, reflection, it can illuminate the root causes of our stress and point us towards more effective ways of managing it.
Carol makes it clear that the bullet journal isn't a replacement for professional help, but it can be a valuable addition to therapy or counseling.
Absolutely. It offers a space for self-reflection and emotional processing, which can really support our mental health journey.
Carol shares a story about using his bullet journal to get through a really stressful and uncertain time in his own life.
He was feeling overwhelmed by a demanding job, financial worries, and relationship issues all at the same time.
Here, he found comfort in using his bullet journal to track his mood, his sleep patterns, just his daily experiences.
This careful documentation and reflection helped him pinpoint what was causing his stress and come up with ways to cope.
It really shows how effective the bullet journal can be as a tool for self-care and emotional regulation.
It gives us this structured outlet for our thoughts and feelings, which can help us get through tough times with more resilience.
He wants us to think of our bullet journals as a source of support and guidance as we grow and evolve.
He's clear that the bullet journal isn't one size fits all. It's this adaptable framework that we can mold to our individual needs and preferences.
He wants us to experiment with different techniques, layouts, and find what works best for us.
The beauty of it is that it's so empowering. You can create a system that reflects your personality, your aspirations.
It's important to find that balance between structure and flexibility, Carol says.
Right. The bullet journal provides a framework for being organized and productive, but it's also important to allow room for spontaneity, creativity.
We should see it as a compass, not a set of rigid rules, right?
Exactly. The most powerful bullet journals are the ones that evolve and adapt with us as our needs and priorities change.
He encourages us to approach our bullet journal practice with a sense of playfulness, experimentation.
It's about finding joy in the process of self-discovery, embracing the journey of personal growth.
He reminds us that the bullet journal isn't about arriving at some destination, but about the journey itself.
It's a tool that helps us stay grounded, focused, connected to what truly matters.
Carol ends by highlighting the importance of community in the bullet journal world.
He encourages us to connect with other bullet journalers, share our stories, and learn from each other.
The bullet journal community is so vibrant, supportive. It's a real testament to the power of this simple but profound methodology.
So the bullet journal, it's not just about, managing our inner world. It can help us engage with the world around us in a more intentional and meaningful way.
Carol dives into this idea of intentional living, aligning what we do with what we believe, our values.
Right. It's about making conscious choices with our time, energy, resources.
He talks about identifying those things that truly resonate with us and then, making them a priority.
That's a real challenge these days, with everything demanding our attention.
But the bullet journal, it gives us a tool to filter out that noise and focus on what matters.
Carol suggests using it to track our commitments, goals, the things we're passionate about.
By tracking things carefully, we become more aware of how we're spending our time, whether it aligns with what we value.
It gives us the power to make changes, course correct, make sure our actions match our aspirations.
He emphasizes that intentional living isn't about reaching some perfect state. It's about moving towards a life that's authentic, fulfilling.
It's about enjoying the journey and finding satisfaction in the process of creating a life that reflects who we truly are.
Carol shares a personal story about a time when he felt, lost and empty, even though he had achieved a lot of outward success.
He was working on a project that was financially successful, but it didn't have any personal meaning for him.
He realized he'd been chasing external validation instead of nurturing his passions.
It was a wake-up call. He reassessed his priorities and made changes to find more alignment, more purpose.
His story shows how important it is to step back every now and then and make sure what we're doing aligns with who we are, our values.
The bullet journal can be a powerful tool for that self-reflection and course correction.
He suggests using our bullet journals to explore our interests, try new things, figure out what really excites us.
It's a journey of exploration, right?
Sure.
It can uncover hidden talents, passions, even new paths that we might not have found otherwise.
It's never too late to chase our dreams, Carol says. And the bullet journal can provide the structure and support we need to turn those dreams into reality.
Intentional living, it's an ongoing process, Carol emphasizes. It's not about reaching some fixed endpoint of perfection, but about constantly striving to align our actions with our values.
He reminds us to be patient with ourselves, enjoy the journey, celebrate those small wins.
The bullet journal, it's with us every step of the way, a tool for self-discovery and a reminder of our commitment to building a meaningful life.
So we've explored the tools, the philosophy, even glimpsed at this wider bullet journal community.
The real magic of this system, it's in its adaptability. What we talked about today, it's just a starting point. The real power comes when you tailor it to your own needs and goals.
Exactly. As you fill those pages, remember, it's not about perfection. It's about progress, self-discovery, making each day count. Now go conquer that mental clutter, one bullet point at a time.
Let me give you a quick recap, 10 key takeaways from our deep dive into the bullet journal. First, embrace that analog advantage. Don't underestimate the power of pen and paper for focus, memory, and creativity.
Next, master that rapid logging. Quickly capture your tasks, events, and notes with shorthand and symbols. It's like the foundation of your bullet journal.
Third, make it personal. Use signifiers, custom bullets, collections, whatever helps you tailor the bullet journal to fit you.
Fourth, use that monthly log to get a clear overview of your month. Map out events, deadlines, and important tasks.
Fifth, don't forget the future log. It's for those entries with specific dates that fall outside of the current month. Keeps those long-term commitments in check.
Sixth, the daily log. That's your go-to spot for jotting down anything and everything throughout the day.
Seventh, the index your table of contents for your bullet journal. It helps you find stuff quickly.
Eighth, remember migration. Regularly review your entries and move them between collections. Let go of what you don't need anymore and focus on what truly matters.
Ninth, bring mindfulness into your practice. Reflection is key to finding meaning in your experiences and making sure your actions align with your values.
And lastly, the bullet journal. It's more than just a way to be productive. It's a whole philosophy for intentional living, a guide to crafting a life that has purpose and feels fulfilling.